Credit card debt is a thing of the past.
If credit card debt has you down, call Trinity at 1-800-936-5496.
My name is Neil. Take it from someone who's been there. Call Trinity and become debt-free for keeps.
1-800-936-5496.
Shift your career into high gear with Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland. They're hiring a service and parts advisor and a loop tech, and they want you on their team. You'll get competitive pay, full-time hours, health insurance, a 401k, and plenty more benefits, all while working with the crew that keeps the tri-state area moving. So don't idle. Apply today at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland. Your next career is waiting right there under the hood.
Your business was built right here, so was ours. At FNB Bank, we are not run from some distant city. We are run by neighbors, for neighbors. We know what matters to you because it matters to us too. From local decisions to face-to-face service, we are here. Bank local, grow local, stay local. FNB Bank, member FDIC.
Need a porta potty or septic pumping in Northwest Kansas? Call Topside Portables and Pumping, your local family-owned crew. They've got clean, reliable toilets for weddings, farms, and job sites, plus full septic services, RV waste, fertilizer tanks, and more. Available 24/7, because when nature calls, they answer. Call 785-728-8089. That's 728-8089. Topside Portables and Pumping. Reliable, local, clean.
As kids head back to school, it's the perfect time to get your home and yard ready for fall. At Hooper Lumber Ace Hardware in Colby and Goodland, they've got you covered. From all-season ultimate fertilizer and building materials to cozy patio heaters and furniture. Fire up family meals with a Traeger grill or Blackstone griddle and give your home a new look with Benjamin Moore paints. Whatever your project, big or small, Hooper Lumber Ace Hardware is here to help. That's Hooper Lumber Ace Hardware in Goodland and Colby. Your community, your projects, your ace.
Looking for insurance that actually puts you first? At the insurance agency in downtown Goodland, we're independent, which means we work for you. Whether it's auto, home, crop, or business, we shop top carriers to get you the best coverage at the best price. No pushy sales, just honest advice from people who live right here in your community. Give us a call today at 785-899-5011 or stop by 1020 Main in Goodland, and let's get you covered. The insurance agency. Insurance the way it should be.
This is Caitlin Hill, senior at Goodland Junior Senior High School. Join the Black and Gold Booster Club as we rally together to support our student athletes, band members, and all of our amazing extracurricular programs. The Booster Club would like to remind everyone that Homecoming Week will begin September 15th, and we are so excited to welcome back the class of 1975. Buy some mums, eat some chili, join in the parade, and we will see you at the football game on September 19th as we take on the Oakley Plainsmen.
Grab your clubs and join us for the Goodland Regional Medical Center Foundation Slice of Life Golf Tournament, Saturday, September 20th at Sugar Hills in Goodland. It's a 3-person scramble with a 9 a.m. shotgun start and just $100 per golfer. That includes green fees, lunch, and hors d'oeuvres. Enjoy unlimited mulligans, awesome whole prizes, a margarita tent, and big-ticket raffle items, all while supporting GRMC's oncology and specialty care services. Sign up or sponsor now by going to goodlandregional.com. It's the 2025 Goodland Regional Medical Center Foundation Slice of Life Golf Tournament. Golf with purpose.
When you work hard, make sure you have a service that works hard for you. With reliable coverage and the latest devices, you can go farther with Nextech Wireless. Right now, get an iPhone 16 Pro and an Apple Watch 10 on us. That's right, on us. Nextech Wireless, connecting Kansans.
This is Caleb Morris with the Crop Insurance Department at Farm Credit of Western Kansas with some friendly reminders for the 2025 crop year. December 1st is the sales closing date for pasture, range, and forage insurance. December 15th is the acreage reporting deadline for 2025 winter wheat in Kansas. Remember, any possible loss should be reported within 72 hours of discovery. Contact Kelly or myself at 785-462-6714 for all your crop insurance needs. Work with agents who work for you. Farm Credit of Western Kansas is an equal opportunity provider.
You ready? Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4!
It's time for the Morning Blitz
Blitz with Ross Volkmer.
If you want to win in football, it all starts up front. Mass kicks ass.
And Connor Schuh.
He's the new guy.
The High Plains only local sports talk show. Broadcasting live on Goodland's Rocket 102.5 and video streaming on YouTube, Facebook, and X.
They're basically idiots.
Covering it all from the preps.
Up ahead to Blair Lennon. Lennon, the crossover, back to Cure. Hello, boom! A two-handed tomahawk flush.
To the pros.
Shotgun snap to Nix. Protection is good. Bolden loads it up. He's got it. A receiver there. Franklin makes the catch in the end zone. Touchdown, Denver.
The Blitz is presented by Pearl Chevrolet GMC, Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware, and F&B Bank. Along with
Equity Bank of Hoxie, Quinter, and Grinnell, the Insurance Agency, Pest Away LLC, Topside Portables and Pumping, and the Farmer State Bank in Oakley.
Let's go to work.
Jones to right center, way back there, gone. Move over, Yogi. Aaron Judge is now in 5th place, alone in Yankees history.
Takes it the other way and deep. Back goes Fernando at the wall. He looks. Fernando did it again. He did it again.
1-1. That is hammered. And there it goes. Number 30. Touch 'em all time for a Hunter Goodman.
Fly ball, center field. It's hit deep. Out toward Monty's angle. It is number 50. Kyle Schwarber has just hit his 50th home run of the season. He's the second Philly to do it.
Man, what a year for Kyle Schwab. That guy has had himself a season. I mean, I know he's gone through some slumps. I get that. But I mean, think about it. Winning the home run derby. What is that? It was a home run derby walk-off deal or whatever the heck that was. That was pretty darn impressive. Geez, that was a great showing from Kyle Schwarber in the home run derby. And now he's had 50 home runs in his career. I always thought he had it in him. Remember watching him play baseball at Indiana. He was really, really good. And so now seeing him do it at the major leagues, it's not a surprise. But, hey, good Wednesday morning, everybody. It has been a very rocky Wednesday morning here in the Morning Blitz. Connor doesn't know this, but I do. I get in this morning, and there's no commercials. There's no log. The log is gone. I don't know where the log went. And so it has been a rocky start to the morning already, but we're going to piece it together as best as we possibly can here on the Morning Blitz. Connor, you probably couldn't tell I was not fretting, but running around like a chicken with my head cut off this morning.
I had no idea.
Yeah, so that was me. I was over here. I was like, I get in. I was like, there's no log. So now I'm putting together a log just kind of based upon my memory of doing the show for multiple years. And just trying to get a few. Then I try to get this one computer going. I got to go back to the back room. Got to do this thing because the screen wasn't working. Got that fixed. It's been an interesting couple of mornings here. Interesting morning here on the Morning Blitz, and we really haven't even gotten going. So, but we got plenty to get to here on today's program. I'm Ross Volkmer. Connor Schuh is with us as well, joining us on the Pearl Chevrolet GMC video stream. We got a lot to get to on today's program. We will get to our college football Power 5 coming up here in just a little bit, our Week 3 edition. Look forward to welcoming back to the show. Been a while, but we'll have him on. John Betts of Kansas Pregame Magazine. John's going to join the program, talk about this year's edition of the Kansas Pregame. Have you had a chance to get your hands on a copy of that, Connor? I haven't even heard of it probably, but have you had a chance?
I was given last year's copy, but
Okay.
I don't think I've gotten my hands on this year's, unfortunately.
Yeah, so like I said, it's a neat little thing to have that John and his crew put together every year. Lots of good information. It's not like a ton. It's not like a Phil Steele, college football Bible by any means, but little blurps and write-ups, maybe 100 words per team. Just kind of a little talk about, each school around the state, their football teams, and interesting stories, interesting players, great pictures as well. So get your hands on a copy of this year's Kansas Pregame Magazine. But we'll visit with John Betts, who is the man who kind of behind it all, puts it all together. We'll visit with him coming up here in segment 2. We'll get to some news for the Broncos. Lots of news surrounding the Broncos, and a question I have surrounding the Broncos in one of these news items coming up in segment number 3. So we'll get to all that coming up in today's program. Connor, I told you how crazy my morning has been. Has yours been a little less stressful?
Well, I missed my alarm and I woke up like a half hour later. And thankfully,
So
I
it's
woke
been one
up.
of those days.
Yeah, and I was laying there and I'm like, this is weird. I'm not hearing anything, and it's it looks like it's starting to get a little light out. And I look at my phone, and thankfully it was 6:40, 6:45, not 7:40. So everything ended up being fine. But I rushed breakfast a little bit.
Yeah. What time do you usually wake up in the morning? You up at what, 6:15?
I try to do 6 to 6:15 so I can get like a full breakfast in. Wake up at home and do my thing, like to read a little bit. So. Yeah.
What are you making for breakfast each? Like you said, get a good breakfast. And what are you making for breakfast on an average weekday morning?
It's typically a lot. I'll scramble 6 eggs and
6. Oh my.
Yeah.
Oh
And
my.
I'll have a banana, cup of coffee, and typically a blueberry bagel as well.
Wow. That is quite the breakfast. Do you put the eggs on top of the bagel?
It depends on the day. If I'm getting like an everything bagel or just a plain bagel, then I'll do it. But I feel like it clashes with the blueberry taste too much, so I keep it out of that, and I'll leave those separate. But I try to get my calories in.
Cream cheese on the bagel?
Depends on the day. That or peanut butter.
Peanut butter. Okay. Trying to get those calories in. Are you bulking up?
I'm trying to right now. I'm trying to.
Oh my gosh. Never a problem for me growing up. Never thought like, I need to bulk up. Nope. Never was an issue for me. Interesting. Good to know. Man, 6 eggs. That's amazing. That is a lot of eggs. Good for you. Jeez. That's about as many eggs as my kids eat. And I've got 3 of them. I'm thinking 2 per kid. That's just all in one U. Interesting. All right, we got plenty to get to here on the Blitz. As always, F&B Bank text line is open at 785-899-2222. Drew chiming in on the FB Bank text line, talking about your breakfast, says more protein. So Connor's definitely getting his protein in the morning. We're gonna have to ask you about lunch and dinner later on in the show about what you eat, because good Lord, that's a big breakfast. So anyway, plenty to get to here on the Morning Blitz. And be a part of the program if you'd like to on the EpiBank text line, or chime in with the comments section on the Hurl Chevrolet GMC video stream, Facebook, X, YouTube. Before we dive into our College Football Power 5, I wanted to get to some local results from last night, some high school volleyball. What a competitive night of high school volleyball it was. I mean, you talk about a very competitive night. Lots of triangulars around the area, lots of teams in action, and a lot of matches going to 3 sets. Going the distance. I was very impressed by some of the outcomes from last night. Golden Plains Triangular had Greeley County go 2-0 with sweeps of Golden Plains and Tri-Plains Brewster. Golden Plains won the other match of the evening, sweeping Tri-Plains Brewster. That was one of the few matches that didn't have a 3-setter mixed in there. Down in Weskin, Shilen had wins over St. Francis in 3, Shilen had wins over St. Francis in 3 and Weskin in 2, and then Saney beat Weskin in 3 sets. So highly competitive matches there. At the Hoxie Triangular, Oakley remains unbeaten. They sweep Peaburg, and then it took 3 sets to take down Hoxie. Hoxie then beat Phillipsburg in the other match of the night in a sweep. Goodland gets to get 2 more wins in their back pocket. They take care of Scott City and Ulysses yesterday to get to 4-0. So the Cowgirls off to a much improved start compared to last year, where they struggled to find that first win. But the Cowgirls looking really good here thus far in 2025. Quinter gets to 2-0 in the night, a 3-set win over Logan, a sweep of Wheatland Grinnell. Lady Thunderhawks then sweep Logan in the other match of the night. And then probably the longest night was in Oberlin. Decatur Community defending their home floor. They beat Wallace County and Rollins County each in 3 sets. Rollins County and Wallace County also went the distance with the Buffaloes to get the win. So yeah, quite a night last night there in high school volleyball. Lots of 3-set matches. Don't always see that, but it just tells you how level the playing field is and how good the competition was last night at those area triangulars. By the way, tonight only one local event sporting-wise going on. That is 7th-ranked Colby Community College Lady Trojan volleyball team. They're on the road taking on Hutchinson tonight. Lady Trojans trying to get to 3-0 in conference play, led by setter Amanda Kabuti, who was named the KJCCC Division I Setter of the Week this past week for the second time. So there you go. A quick update on high school volleyball from last night. All right, let's dive in. We got about 10 minutes, a little bit more than that, 10 to 15 minutes to get through our college football Power 5 Week 3 edition. It's the first edition that Connor has been a part of. So let's get to it. All right, we get to the, do you have an honorable mention game, Connor? I'm going to start with that. Do you have an honorable mention game? If so, what do you got for your honorable mention game of the week here in week number 3?
I do, and this is more of a personal one. Ohio State versus Ohio University. So, hear me out. My parents.
Well, the funny thing is because that's my honorable mention game. So
really,
yeah, it is.
No way.
Yeah, it is.
That's incredible. Well, so first off, my dad went to Ohio State, and my mom went to Ohio, and I went to Ohio State, of course. So it's just kind of a good matchup when you think about it. I mean, Ohio State, granted, is probably going to roll them when you really look at it, but OU has had a really promising start. They beat West Virginia last week, and they really kept it close against a fine Rutgers team, but it's not something you hear that often for a MAC team. But Ohio is the cream of the crop. Their quarterback, Parker Navarro, is electric. He's a great player. And, of course, you probably know what you already know about Ohio State. Julian Sain has been tossing the ball around the yard. They have so much talent on the outside. And I could go on, but I won't go too in-depth with that. That's a fun matchup.
I couldn't have said any better myself. Ohio State is 31.5-point favorites. Give me Ohio to cover. I think they only lose by 4 touchdowns. I mean, come on.
I agree.
I mean, Ohio has played really good. I mean, think about the West Virginia game last week. West Virginia bought out the tickets at Ohio. There were more West Virginia fans in Athens than there were Ohio fans. Yet they still won on their home field there, did Ohio, despite the crowd discrepancy.
I think they were blasting country roads in the locker room after that one.
I bet they were. So, yeah, I would agree. That is my honorable mention game as well. We did not talk before the show. This is just the honest truth. That was my honorable mention game because I think Ohio will cover against Ohio State. Makes it interesting. Okay, we are in the Power 5. Let's get to
number 5.
What do you got for the number 5 game?
Number 5 game for me is Colorado versus Houston. Houston's kind of a fun team in the Big 12. Connor Wegman, the starting quarterback for them, came over after 3 years at Texas A&M, had some spot starts, but really struggled at times, so he's trying to find his way in year 4. And then Colorado, of course, they're supposed to have Ryan Staub starting, but I saw a report that Dion said he hasn't picked a starter, actually, and he said Staub is taking the first team reps in practice, but he is not officially, I guess, locked in on Staub. Of course, there's still some consideration for Caden Salter and Julian Lewis, but who knows? And whoever starts, I think that's going to be a close game. I'm pretty sure Colorado was favored by 2.5 last time I checked. So I think that's going to be a close game no matter who starts at quarterback.
Interesting pick at number 5. My number 5, I'm going to the SEC. Vanderbilt at South Carolina is my number 5 game. I like this game because it is a battle of 2 fascinating quarterbacks. First and foremost, Diego Pavia, who's been an unbelievable story for multiple reasons. But the underdog, undersized quarterback for Vanderbilt, who's getting another year and is going against, going to the courts for all of his money and NCAA eligibility because of playing junior college. There's so much storylines there with him. But he's actually been kind of really good for Vanderbilt. He's been very good. They've won a lot of games with him under center, and they're 2-0. And South Carolina's off to a great start as well. And they have a great quarterback by the name of Lenoris Sellers. I wish Sellers would wear his glasses. His first ever start, he wore the kind of the goggle-style glasses in his helmet. Then he went and got contacts. And I'm kind of wishing he went back to the glasses because it's
fun.
Yeah, it looked better. I don't know why. So, but anyway, 2 interesting quarterbacks. Both are very mobile guys. Both are very willing to put their bodies on the line. And both these teams, it's early in the SEC. It's their first SEC games. So I'm really fascinated to see what these two quarterbacks do to lead their team. So Vandy at South Carolina 5.5-point favorite going into today in that one. All right, there you go. Number 5 on the college football Power 5.
Number 4.
What's in 4?
Number 4, this is another unranked matchup. I think there's better slates in the weekend of college football. Week 3 is not the strongest, but there's still some fun. Minnesota at Cal is my number 4. Drake Lindsey, the redshirt freshman, has been lauded by Minnesota media as being potentially the guy after they had a really good quarterback last year in Max Brosmer. But the real fun here comes with Cal, their true freshman quarterback, Jaron Kiawe Sagapolatele,
Nice.
That's a tough one to say.
Nice.
Well, we'll call him JKS, but he's a big lefty quarterback, and he hasn't faced great competition yet. I think they played an FCS team in week 1, and played, I think, Rice. No, Houston played Rice last week, but still haven't played a real big Power 5 opponent yet. But JKS has looked pretty good, and Cal fans have been raving about him as the next great Cal quarterback. He was a 4-star prospect, blue chip guy, the best Hawaiian quarterback since Marcus Mariota or Dylan Gabriel, some are saying. So I think it'll be really exciting to see him in his first real Power 5 matchup against Minnesota, who has a solid quarterback themselves. And also notable, JKS, he won the starting job at Cal over the Ohio State transfer Devin Brown, who some were saying was the runaway favorite to win that one early in the offseason. But nope, it's JKS time.
Let's just remember that I'm talking about the next great quarterback at Cal. Let's just remember that he could be gone next year someplace else that has more money. Let's just remember that.
True.
So he probably won't be at Cal next year. And then Devin Brown might get a shot at it, or though he might transfer too.
I think he'll be out of eligibility.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fine. All right, number 4 for me. I'm going to the ACC. Clemson at Georgia Tech. Big game in the ACC. Huge game. Both these teams, I think, have got eyes of winning an ACC title. I think they both have teams that are capable of getting to that game. Haynes King, the quarterback, is back after missing the last game for Georgia Tech, but looks like he's back just in time. And Clemson, to be honest with you, has kind of struggled. You know, they lose to LSU in a really great game in the season opener at home. Okay, not the end of the world, but then they come back and they take on Troy, and heck, they were down, I think, 16-3 at halftime. It wasn't good. So they've kind of struggled. Georgia Tech's going to line up and just absolutely sock it to you in the mouth, which I love to see, old school football like that. Clemson, the 3.5-point favorite on the road there at Bobby Dodd Stadium in Atlanta. But this game could be, I think, a very competitive one, and the spread says so. 3.5-point favorite. So Clemson at Georgia Tech is my number 4. On the college football Power 5. All right, on to
number 3.
What do you got for 3?
For number 3, I've got one for the regional fans here, Kansas State at Arizona. We talked about it a little bit earlier this week and how big of a matchup this is for Kansas State after the troubling start to the season they've had. I feel like they kind of just need this one against an Arizona team that's been solid, and it's bound to be pretty close. I think Kansas State only favored by 1.5 points in this one. They are on the road against Arizona, who's bringing in Noah Fafita, I think his second year as quarterback there, and he's supposed to be pretty good, but they struggled a little bit last year. So I think he's got something to prove along with the team themselves. So a win against Kansas State, despite their struggles early in the season, I think would be a feather in their cap. And I think you could say the same conversely for Kansas State. A win against Arizona would be very, very important for later in this season in Big 12 play. So I think this will be a fun one to watch.
No doubt. It's a Friday night game. Won't get to see it. Got my own job to do. But I will say this. Fafita is a really good quarterback, and last year they struggled because they had a new offensive coordinator, new offensive system. This year they are much improved. I think Arizona actually was, early in the week, was the favorite, like by 1.5 or 2.5 points. That's flipped to Kansas State, which is fine. Wildcats have to find something good, and nothing has gone right, and now you're on the road in Arizona. Now, this game does not count towards the Big 12. It is a non-conference counting game because this game was scheduled before Arizona joined the Big 12. Still, though, you would really like for K-State to get on the right side of the win-loss column in this one. I don't know. It's going to be a challenging game. There's K-State fans out there predicting 4-8, which means this will be a loss probably.
4-8.
I know they're over the moon on this. Trust me. All right, my number 3, SEC, Georgia at Tennessee. It's a top 15 matchup. The thing that fascinates me, though, is the quarterback play. 2 newish quarterbacks in big-time environments. Joey Aguilar, the odd transfer from App State to UCLA and then traded to Tennessee in the Nico Amaliviava deal, has actually looked pretty good for Tennessee, to be honest with you. He's looked solid. And then I forget, is it Gunnar Stockton? Is that the quarterback for Georgia?
Gunnar Stockton, yes.
So Gunnar Stockton is the other quarterback. 2 guys that have, they're on great teams, but these are huge environments. How do they handle this? It's in Tennessee. So who handles that game better? That's what I'm fascinated about that game. Georgia, 3.5-point favorite on the road at UT. That's my number 3 here on the College Football Power 5. All right, moving into
number 2.
I can't believe I forgot about the Georgia-Tennessee game. That went right over my head. That's not even in my top 2. But
tough.
Number 2, I think I'm gonna switch my number 1 and number 2 now that I'm looking at my list again, because I think there's a very real chance that Miami might roll South Florida, but I'm so in on the South Florida train after those first couple of games against Boise State and then Florida. And that win against Florida was by the skin of their teeth. I'm not going to say they got lucky, but a lot of penalties in Florida's way, and they had that game-winning field goal. But they have a lot of talent. Byron Brown is a dog at quarterback, and they're ranked number 18. Who says they can't go into Miami and potentially get a victory? I think that's going to be so much fun to watch, to see if the Cinderella story of South Florida is really real. And if they win this game, I think they're the runaway favorite for that group of 5 playoff spot. And of course, Miami's a lot of fun too. Carson Beck, his first year there after transferring in from Georgia, and he's shown a lot, looked really good against Notre Dame in the season opener. So I think there's a ton to like about that game.
More on me from that later. My number 2, Texas A&M at Notre Dame. 6.5-point favorite are the Golden Domers at home. It's the first real test for A&M. They haven't played anybody yet. And Notre Dame, to an extent, backs are kind of against the wall. You start 0-2, it's really hard to make the playoff. Now, they have challenged themselves with 2 ranked teams, and there's other ranked teams on their schedule. They've got USC coming down the road. They've got some other really good games, as Notre Dame's schedule usually is quite daunting. But you go 0-2, really hard to win yourself a spot in the CFP. So they desperately need this game. It's at home, but A&M needs it too. A&M needs a big-time resume builder, and this would be it. So it's my number 2 game on the College Football Power 5. All right, we finish up with
number 1.
Well, you took the words right out of my mouth. That was my number 1 right there. So Marcel Reed is a lot of fun to watch for Texas A&M. He
quarterback.
Yes, struggled a little bit last year as a passer, but it seems like he started to iron things out against, I guess you could say, lesser opponents early in this year. And then Notre Dame, you said it. I mean, they've got something to prove here, and they kind of need this win with CJ Carr, the new quarterback, under center. He looked good against Miami. He really came around late and helped them come back and almost take that one. Miami ended up coming out victorious, but him and that whole team's a lot of fun. Jeremiah Love, the running back, is a Heisman candidate, and he is just electric, an incredible player to watch. So that will be a great game. But yeah.
My number 1, you took the words out of my mouth. I took South Florida at Miami as the number 1 game this week. Reason why, once again, and you said a lot of it, but South Florida's played 2 great games against Boise State and against Florida, knocking off 2 ranked teams. Can they make it 3? Momentum is on their side. It's going to be very hard. Miami is highly skilled. I'm not even talking about Carson Beck. I'm talking about defensively and at skill positions. Those guys are freaks. It looks like a Miami team. When I watched them play Notre Dame, I mean, they were buzzing around Notre Dame left and right. They were freakish. And so they're highly skilled. But here's the fascinating thing, and you said this too. If, and it's a big if South Florida can win this game, all of a sudden, like you said, they are a lock to make the college football playoff. Look at their schedule the rest of the way. There is nothing really there. There's Charlotte, there's Nicholls State, there's a bunch of games that you're just like, they got that. So you're looking at an unbeaten season. So if they go 3-0, you're looking at an unbeaten, probably South Florida team, barring some massive hiccup. They have a great chance to go unbeaten and make the college football playoff if they win this. So their playoff lives are on the line this Saturday. And that's what makes it the number 1 game. Because if they win, I think they're into the CFP if they just keep their focus.
And I think there's even a shot that they can make it if they don't win this game, and that would require a little bit of stumbling from other highly touted group of 5 teams. But yeah, this is they're locked in if they win this one.
You control your own destiny. That's the thing. You control your own destiny if you can get it done. So fascinating, very, very fascinating. Week 3, like Connor said, probably not the sexiest. If we're being completely honest, it's definitely not the sexiest, but still a solid week of college football ahead here in week 3. So some interesting games on the docket. All right, we're going to get to our break. When we return, John Betts, Kansas pregame magazine publisher, is going to spend some time with us, talk about this year's upcoming magazine. Well, it's already out, I should say. This year's magazine, it's already out. He'll talk with us about that next and much more. You're listening to Wednesday edition of the Morning Blitz.
Did you know hearing loss is the third most common health issue in the United States, affecting nearly 48 million people? At MacArthur Audiology, we've been proudly serving Eastern Colorado and Northwestern Kansas for over a decade with superior audiological care. Led by Dr. Rachel MacArthur, providing expert hearing services since 2006, we're here to help you reconnect with the world around you, because hearing means better living. Call 719-346-5717 or visit MacArthurAudiology.com. Hear better, live better.
Mark your calendars. The Flatlander Fall Festival hits Goodland September 26th and 27th. It all kicks off Friday with Friday Night Fusion, live music, and free barbecue at Chambers Park. Saturday, Main Street explodes with over 50 vendors and activities, the car and bike show, food, and live music for the whole family. That night, the ATV Big Air Tour at Sherman County Speedway, followed by the Cruise Parade at 8. It's the Flatlander Fall Festival in Goodland, September 26th and 27th. Don't miss it.
It's time for a check of the markets with the Anderson Trade Group on the Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio Network.
This is Austin Wright with the Anderson's Trade Group and your morning market update. It is September 10th. These corn, 419 and a half. March 26 corn, 437 and a half. May 26 corn, 447 and 3/4. December KC wheat, 511 and a half. March 26 KC wheat, 532 and a half. May 26 KC wheat, 546 and a quarter. 1029 and a half. January 26 soybeans, 1049. March 26 soybeans, 1064 and 3/4. Dow Jones futures are currently up 1 point at 45,758. S&P 500 futures are currently up 33 points at 6,554. NASDAQ futures are currently up 128 points at 24,002. Gold is currently up $1.60 at 3,683. Crude is currently up 57 cents at 63.20. For your grain marketing needs or more information on our Freedom Pricing tools, you can reach the Kansas City office, Jared Law, Tyler Gosch, Tom Saludo at 913-748-3000. In Colorado, John Hinkie and John Stiles, 970-744-4484.
The Anderson Trade Group, proud market partners with Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio. Find out more at andersongrain.com. The risk of loss through trading futures and or options is substantial, and each investor and or trader must consider whether this is a suitable investment. Past performance, whether actual or indicated, is not indicative of future results. The Anderson Trade Group has no guarantee that the advice given will result in profitable trades.
Hey Max, you look sharp in that purple tie. Ready to harness the world as a guide dog?
You bet, Dave.
On his protein, on Connor's protein stuff, more advice coming in from listener Drew. He says you got to get those white eggs, Connor. The white eggs will get you more protein, not the yellow
Egg whites.
one.
I got to get my egg whites in.
So
I think
apparently-
I'll add that.
Better get a couple more eggs on top of that 6 each morning. You got to go through a ton of eggs a week, man. You buy
It-
like 3 cartons a week or something?
Roughly, I'll get one of the 18 packs, not
There you go.
the dozen and a half, I guess. But
Yeah.
I'll try and pick it up.
Yeah, get going on those eggs. All right, let's get to the phones. Joining us on the Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware Hotline is our friend John Betts from Kansas Pregame Magazine. John, good morning. How are we doing today?
Pretty good. I was excited to hear from you and a little bit startled.
Yeah, as John was saying a little bit ago, he called him. He says, "Oh, I kind of forgot about this." Even though I texted him last night, I'm pretty sure at like 6 or 7, saying, "Hey, you want to join the show?" And he's like, "Absolutely." So you must have had a very eventful night or morning, John. What must have been happening?
So I have a 8th grade daughter, and she is a cheerleader, and this is Lincoln. I live in Lincoln, Kansas. This is Lincoln homecoming week. And some of the junior high cheerleaders are practicing with the high school cheerleaders for the pep rally, and they had to get up Monday and Wednesday at 5:30 in the morning to go and practice at 6 a.m. So, and we've been running around getting, clothes together and stuff like that. And I will say my daughter Sloan, she does a great job of she gets up and around on her own. But getting everything going at 5:30 in the morning kind of erases memories of what else you have going on in the rest of the day.
I just think it's so amazing that we have homecomings on, the second weeks of the season. Always interesting. I never remember it being that early when I was going to school. It's always a little bit like halfway through or later on in the year, but that's kind of the trend it's been here as of late.
Yeah, I don't know if the larger districts, I don't know if coaches are trying to shy away from having it during district play. And I don't know if coaches are more specific about, well, we know this is a team that we probably should be in good position against, and so let's get it knocked out. But yes, it used to be much later in the year for most programs.
John, I have to ask real quickly, this week there was a lot of rain that went through your neck of the woods. Well, how much rain did you end up getting there in Lincoln?
So reports in Lincoln proper are probably anywhere between like 3 or 4 inches on the west edge of town to 5 to 6 inches on the east edge of town. But we were just off of, we're more or less straight south of a little town called Barnard, and they had in the 8 to 10 inch range, and then it kind of went on a southeast angle down towards Tesket. And of course, everybody's probably seen that Tesket had between 10 and reports of up to 13 inches, and they actually had to evacuate some people out of the community. Tesket is a very low-lying area that has a really large flood plain that kind of feeds into it. They actually have a celebration in Tesket. I think it's every other year now, called Flood Days. So
they literally had one.
They're well aware of their situation, but their football field is it's built up off, it's high, so the football field proper was above the flooding, but the parking lot to the football field was full. The practice field was underwater. The high school parking lot was underwater. And then in town, some of the businesses right downtown, there's actually a really nice little bar down there called the Lumberyard that's in an old lumberyard building, and they had 3 to 6 inches of water on the floor in their building. So there's a lot of people that are going to have to do some flood remediation in homes and businesses, and it's going to be a while before they get things cleaned up around there.
Lumberyard had a special night. It was slip and slide night at the Lumberyard. That's what it was. Slip and slide night.
Yes. They have dances and live bands there. So
there you go.
At the dance, they'll be wearing their galoshes.
There you go. John Betts joining us on the Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware Hotline. He's the publisher for Kansas Pregame Magazine. John, talk to us about this year's edition. What was it like getting it together, and what was the process of getting it out there to all the fellow and loyal readers of that great magazine?
So the 20th annual issue of Kansas Pregame, we started in 2006 was our first one. And when we started, it was a kind of a regional publication, covered primarily the western half of the state, and we grew it those first couple of 3 years and then expanded into the entire state. And then of course for, the last decade or more, we've been comprehensive statewide. And we added a 20th anniversary team this year, which, those kinds of teams are just incredibly difficult to produce, but we sought feedback from the public, but also most importantly, coaches, media members, taking a look at who are some of the greatest players that we've seen over the last 2 decades. And it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. And it was, I think, a nice addition to the publication, but it added a tremendous amount of work. Those things take so much time if you want to get them right. I mean, you can compile lists and say, these are some of the best players, but it's really important to me to say, these are absolutely some of the most deserving guys out there. And so that was a neat part of it. And then we did a new feature where we went and to our photo shoot, we brought several different programs, if you will, and had 3 to 5 or 6 athletes from each of those programs with their coach. And we did a flip out, what's called a single gate fold. So if you open up the front cover, then it flips out to a wide format and has all those programs featured. And that was kind of a fun new addition. And then something, it's a little heart-wrenching for me. My high school football coach, legendary coach at Smith Center High School, Roger Barta, he passed away this summer. And I've got a lengthy column that, kind of tells about my respect for him, but also a couple of fun stories about my experience as a player for Coach Barta in the early 90s in Smith Center. So a lot of stuff. And then, of course, the usual, every Acacia team in Kansas, the most detailed returning starter and statistical information, and then, rankings and photos and all that great stuff.
What does it feel like to be the Phil Steele of Kansas magazine, of Kansas sports? Does it feel good?
Yeah, I'm mostly just shocked that this is where I'm at 20 years later. Like when we started it, I was like, I have to get this first one out. I know that once we get one done, then we can improve on it. And the first one, it's pretty embarrassing to look back at it because the layout is just kind of all over the place, and it's black and white, and there's not many photos, and it's on newsprint. But I just knew that summer of 2006, I was like, I just got to get this first one out, and then we're going to get a little bit better, and then we're going to get a little bit better. And yes, over the years, we've gained some tremendous respect, and to be mentioned among the Phil Steels or the Dave Campbell's is the Bible of Texas high school football. Sometimes they'll refer to us similar to Dave Campbell's, and that's really a good feeling. I want to be known as somebody that is accurate and that somebody that cares about getting the most information and the most correct information. And we put tons of time in just to following up with coaches and saying, hey, these kids are back. The willingness of parents to move their kids for sports has really impacted things. We see transfers. I got a report of the best player on Meridicine Valley in southeast Kansas, a 6-man team, outstanding young kid named Landon Traver. I found out that he moved to Ottawa for his junior and senior seasons towards the end of the summer. And so getting that kind of information and those kind of changes is really important to us. And if people think of us in high regard as someone like Phil Steele or Dave Campbell, that's really special.
John, it's good to meet you. I'm Connor. I have a question about how exactly do you go about scouting all these teams in order to get the most accurate ranking you possibly can?
So the first step is we send out questionnaires to all the coaches towards the middle of April. Then there's a continuous follow-up. We get a good return. I would say out of 330 or so teams, we probably get 250 coaches to get us questionnaires back. Some of them takes a little more than others. I talk with guys from across the state. I listen to Ross's coverage of Goodland, and I talked to Connor Nickel about what the teams that he's seen over the years. We ask for the coaches in their questionnaires to tell us who the top one or two teams they think is going to be in their in their district on their schedule, the top players that they've seen. And then I watch quite a bit of film, and especially during the season, I used to go to I would go to warm-ups of one game, the first half of another game, and the second half of another game. I would take a region of the state and keep them all close together, and we would take a bunch of photos so that I would have a stockpile of photos for the next year. So that's why specifically going to the warm-ups. But you can tell a lot about a team just watching them go through warm-ups. But now, because I can watch so many different games, a lot of times I usually go to my hometown Lincoln team and watch them for at least a quarter, and then I come back and I get a laptop and a phone and my TV out. I can do a split screen. I can have as many as 4 games on my TV at a time, plus my laptop. I can have 1 or 2 plus my phone. So on any given night, at any given time, I'm usually watching somewhere between 4 and 6 games, and then I'm toggling back and forth, and then you make certainly educated guesses. I mean, a Conway Springs is going to be good. A St. Thomas Aquinas is going to be good. A Mill Valley is going to be good because they've shown it over a lengthy pattern of history. And sometimes I would probably say the tie. If there's a tie, the tie goes to the winner. The tie goes to the team that has consistently been the most successful. And it may not be as much based on, I know this team has 9 starters back or whatever, but being accurate in rankings is really important to us as well. But sometimes we get things wrong. I didn't rank Cunningham in the top 3 of 6 man, and they pounded South Barber to open the season, who we had ranked second. So it's all fun and games. Fortunately, it'll all get played out on the field, but everybody likes to read and talk about rankings, so it makes for a fun traffic generator.
John Betts is our guest here, Kansas Pregame Magazine publisher, joining us on the Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware Hotline. We'll get you a couple more quick ones here. First, foremost, for me, what teams or storylines are most intriguing here in 2025 that you know about and have read about or are looking to see it play out?
Well, sometimes the storylines are very personal for me. Jackson Heights, 1A team that is going to have probably the best team that they've had under current coach Caleb Wick. I'm interested in them because it'll be interesting to see if they can win a state championship in 1A, and especially on the east side that's absolutely loaded, but also because Caleb Wick is a graduate of my high school, Smith Center, and it's fun to follow those guys. And actually right there in that kind of corridor, Jackson Heights is basically an extension of Holton, and Caleb Wick is their head coach, and Brooks Barta, Roger Barta's son, is the longtime head coach at Holton, and so it's fun to follow them. And then right down the road in Royal Valley, David Boucher is the head coach and is doing wonderful things with that program. I think closer to you guys, Hayes High is a really intriguing story. The 1-point victory the other night over Derby, and I don't know if you saw the video of the 2-point conversion that they successfully completed to win that game by 1. Parker McGuire, a really standout tight end for them, as he was catching the ball and getting his foot down on the way out. And I actually had somebody send me a screenshot of him 100% getting his foot down because I was questioning it. So thank you to those fans that make sure that I get that stuff right. But as he was sliding his foot out, he hyperextended and dislocated his knee. It was just a really gruesome injury. So I hope that young athlete is healthy and is able to make it back for his season. And Hayes is making tremendous strides in that program under Tony Crow, and of course made the first ever state final last year. It's going to be interesting to see. They and Great Bend in the Western Athletic Conference are a pair of contenders, and are they closing the distance between the east side of 5A, where you have St. Thomas Aquinas and Mill Valley? that are just the perennial powers there. And so, Cunningham, Golden Plains is going to be interesting to see if they, Coach Smith has been there for a long time, done a great job with that program. Going to be interesting to see if they can contend with Cunningham. Weskin lost to a very powerful Colorado team last week, and I don't think they should be dinged too much for that. So can Golden Plains challenge Weskin, and is Cunningham likely to be make another run? They've been really good in 6-man under Coach McGuire there. So yeah, those are a few of the storylines, both statewide and in the area, that I'm interested in.
He is John Betts of Kansas Pregame Magazine. He's the publisher. He does it all. The Phil Steele, of Kansas high school athletics. John, it's always great to catch up. I'm glad you're able to remember us at the final moment, and we will catch up with you down the road. All right.
Yeah, thank you very much for the time. Everybody head out to KansasPregame.com. Follow us on all those socials, and be sure and tell us what we got wrong with the ranking.
Sounds good, John. We'll do our very best. Thanks again.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Let's get great stuff there. John Betts of Kansas Pregame Magazine joining us here on the Morning Blitz. Great stuff from him, and a great magazine. Go out there and catch it all. I think there's Pizza Hut, Next Tech Wireless. I think are a couple locations. You can go pick up your magazines around the listening area. So go do that. All right, we'll get to a break. When we come back, news surrounding the Broncos. Some interesting news. We'll get to that next here on the Morning Blitz.
As kids head back to school, it's the perfect time to get your home and yard ready for fall. At Hooper Lumber Ace Hardware in Colby and Goodland, they've got you covered. From all-season ultimate fertilizer and building materials to cozy patio heaters and furniture. Fire up family meals with a Traeger grill or Blackstone griddle, and give your home a new look with Benjamin Moore paints. Whatever your project, big or small, Hooper Lumber Ace Hardware is here to help. That's Hooper Lumber Ace Hardware in Goodland and Colby. Your community, your projects, your ace.
We've been serving ag families for generations because we believe farming isn't just a job, it's a legacy. Whether you're just starting out or expanding your operation, F&B Bank has flexible lending solutions designed for you. This is Loan Officer Kennedy Frank at F&B Bank. We're proud to be your hometown ag lender, member FDIC.
Shift your career into high gear with Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland. They're hiring a service and parts advisor and a loop tech, and they want you on their team. You'll get competitive pay, full-time hours, health insurance, a 401k, and plenty more benefits, all while working with the crew that keeps the tri-state area moving. So don't idle. Apply today at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland. Your next career is waiting right there under the hood.
Are pests making your home or business uncomfortable? Call Pest Away in Goodland, Kansas, serving all of Northwest Kansas. They provide top-notch pest control services to keep your space safe and pest-free. From ants to rodents, termites to spiders, our expert team is here to help with effective, safe, and affordable pest control solutions. Don't wait. Call Pest Away today at 785-728-7166 for fast, reliable service. Your home or business deserves the best protection.
Breaking down the plays, the players, and the passion.
Who's got it better than us? Nobody!
This is the Morning Blitz.
Thank you again to John Betts, Kansas Pregame Magazine. Always great information and great stuff from him anytime he joins the program. So last couple minutes here in the show, I want to get to some Broncos news. So yesterday, real quickly, cool news for some, others it's not. I know for some of our K-State fans and who are Chiefs fans that don't like this, like listener Andy, but I saw that K-State running back Deuce Vaughn has been signed to the practice squad for the Broncos, so that's cool to see a little bit of a semi-regional tie there. But the real thing I want to dive into is the news yesterday that came down to the Broncos. There's been rumblings of this, and it's been talked about. It's not like it's brand new knowledge, but the Broncos have kind of settled on the fact that they're going to build a brand new stadium, and it sounds like it's going to happen. I think it's called Burnham Yard is where it is. It's a little bit south of where the stadium is now, but they're going to build a brand new stadium with a retractable roof there at Burnham Yard. And the ownership group of Walter Penn and family ownership group, they're expected to open for the 2031 season. The team says the vision is to create a community hub, combining the new stadium with a mixed-use district in downtown Denver. The thing that I guess I am interested in about this thing, Connor, is why do the Broncos need a brand new stadium? They've only been in the one they've been in since 2001. So it's not even a quarter of a century old. I would love to know, and Broncos fans, Michael and others that I know listen to the program religiously, do you believe that the Broncos need a new stadium? Because they just recently did a whole bunch of renovations, put in some brand new clubs, some new fancy high-end areas. They redid the video board. They've done a whole bunch of stuff to make the stadium. And I know this won't be done till 2031, but that's still 6 years away. I don't see the reasoning for having a stadium that's only 30 years old. We got to get a new one. I don't really quite get it. For some reason, I don't know. Is it
muted my mic?
I was going to say. Okay, go ahead.
But I think sometimes you see sports team owners, professional sports team owners, get a little antsy. Sometimes I feel like, and even after maybe a 20-year period, they're like, we just want to switch things up regardless of what the fans think. And obviously it doesn't go over well the majority of the time. Like, I would imagine it seems like here I'm still getting acclimated to, I guess, what the pulse of the fan base is here in terms of the stadium. But it seems like people were totally fine with Mile High as it was and didn't want to change it up. And I guess it's not for another few years, but still, it's coming around the corner.
That's 30 years. Like, when it's done, it's 30 years that they were in the old building. And I just look at, like, a stadium that does need to be redone is like the Bills, and they're going to be in a brand new stadium next year. That is one, but they've been in that thing since the beginning. I mean, they're going on 50 plus years. I just don't understand. I just don't think and I've been to a few Broncos games. I just don't think it's that old or that out of touch with everything. It doesn't feel like it needs. Now, once again, when you have more money than God, like the Walter Penner Group does, and trust me, we all contribute to that fund at some point in time throughout the week going to Walmart. I mean, it just happens. So maybe you just got all that money. You're like, well, we got to get rid of this or it's going to get taken from us anyway. So let's just spend it on a stadium. Maybe that's what they're thinking. But I don't understand why, because it's not that old of a facility. They've done a lot of things to make it look nice. It looks good on TV. It looks good in person. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Michael does get to us here. He says, it's sad to see Mile High go, but yes, a new stadium is going to be sweet, and the Super Bowl in Denver is going to be awesome. That would be another reason why. With a retractable roof, you could host a Super Bowl there in Denver, which I suppose you could do that. But I don't know. I still think that the stadium is not that old. It's really not. So I don't know. I don't quite understand it, but that's what the Broncos want to do. And they got the money, so they can spend it how they want to. Once again, Broncos plan to build a new retractable roof stadium at Burnham Yard, which I was looking on a map. It's just kind of south, like across the railroad tracks into the south of where the stadium is right now at Mile High.
High drive, deep left, grand slam! And back lifts his ball high and deep to right. How about a walk-off Grady? Thomas to the 10. Denver's going on to New England. They win it on the first play of overtime. Mahomes swings it. It's there. Hardman. Jackpot. Kansas City.
Notice you're not wearing your Guardians cap today, despite another dominant performance from your guys.
I figured I wouldn't rub it in again.
Not going to press my luck.
No, I don't want to get any bad juju in here, so there's a potential sweep. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, anyway, yeah, it's Royals lose again last night there to the Guardians, 2-0. Not much offense for either team. Bobby Witt Jr. was back in the lineup, but it didn't solve any problems. Is it Joey Cantillo? Is that how you say his name?
Cantillo. Joey Cantillo.
Yeah, he was good.
We optioned him 2 weeks ago, and we just brought him back.
Apparently he got mad.
He did, and Guardians are running a 6-man rotation, and it is working right now. I will say that.
Rockies dropped their second straight to the Dodgers last night, 7-2. Hunter Goodman did strike out 3 times, but hit his 30th home run of the season in the 9th. So those series continue. Game 3 and series finale for the Rockies tonight at 8:10 Mountain on KLOE. Game 3 of 4 against the Royals today, 5:40 Central Time on AM 790 KXXX for the Royals. And don't forget, of course, tonight they're on the road. Don't forget tonight you got Colby Community College volleyball on the road at Hutchinson. All right, that was a fun show and a fast show. For Connor Schuh, I'm Ross Volkmer. Thanks again to John Betts, and thanks to you for listening. We'll see you tomorrow in 23 hours. It's been the Morning Blitz.
This is Rocket 102.5. Classic rock plays here. This is Rocket